Welcome to the Weigh In Podcast, your prescription for a healthier life, where wellness is more than just a number on a scale. We'll dive deep into not just weight loss, but the medical, emotional, and lifestyle aspects of well-being.
In each episode, we'll weigh in on hot topics, ranging from diet myths and exercise trends to mental health and chronic disease management, providing you with the evidence-based advice to guide your health decisions. Remember, it's not just about the weight on the scale, but about creating a healthier, more balanced you.
All right, so joining us today is Sherra Davis, who is the clinical office manager and medical assistant at Lifefire Weight and Wellness. Her career journey began in Arizona at a weight loss clinic all the way back in 2011. And in 2023, she transitioned to Lifefire Weight and Wellness, where she continues to make a very meaningful impact by helping patients achieve their weight loss goals. Her dedication to assisting others and witnessing their transformations is truly inspiring. Our patients absolutely love her. Welcome to the show, Sherra.
Thank you. I love that.
Thanks for being here.
Hello, of course.
Okay, so we all are going into this knowing that you just recently started Semaglutide, which is so exciting for you.
Yes, very.
And so before we kind of even start, tell us a little bit about what your goals are and what led you to the point of being like, I want to start the shots.
So for me, when I got married in 2018, and oh my God, I was so tiny. I mean, at this point, I can't even get my toe into my dress. But it was just like, and I look back at those pictures and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do this. I can do this again. Pre-pandemic, I was working out. I was doing good. 2020, 2021, I found out I was pregnant. So there go weight loss right there. So pregnant, enjoyed my pregnancy, had the baby, and 2 years later, I'm still talking about baby weight. And I'm just like, like he is weaned, he is off the bottle, he's in daycare, he's doing his own thing, he has his own friends, and I'm still here talking about baby weight. It's like, this is not life. This is not my
You said
life.
my baby has a whole social life.
He go to the park with his people. I'm like, no, I do not want to be when he's 14, 15, 16, and I'm still talking about baby weight. So I was just like, I have got to do something about this right now, especially now that, I work in a weight loss clinic, number one. And then number two, I have the motivation to do it because I see so many people lose the weight. And then I'm also like, I know I can do it. I'm at the point now, he's older, he's more independent. I can do this. There's nothing stopping me. I got on a scale because I was just like, let me just see what I'm working with. And I got on a scale and I was so depressed and it took me like another 3 months to work up, getting to this point of wanting to lose weight. Because I was like, how in the world did I get here? What happened in the past 3 years that I got to this weight? So now I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to get the food out my house. I'm ready to follow a diet plan because for me, it's like I have to be mentally ready. I have to be in that space to follow a diet plan. I can't just say, oh, I'm going to do this. So especially now, like I'm no longer 20. I'm not even 30 anymore. Like I'm 40 now. I just turned 40 July 2nd. And it feels like I'm 40. Like my knees feel different. My joints feel different. The weight loss is not happening. So it's like, I can't just breathe different and the weight goes away. It's like it's stuff that's happening in this body that's not normal. So I'm just like, all right, let me go ahead. Even my doctor is like, okay, it's time for like all these different exams. And I'm just like, all right, like I need to do something for me so that I can feel good in my skin. I can feel comfortable. It's a mental thing. So I want to get that done as well. Like all the mental blocks, I have the time. So I'm ready. I'm excited about it. So when I got on the scale, I was I was that weak. So now, like, I know where I want to be. I want to lose a good 30, 40 pounds. So, that's kind of where I'm at now. And it's like, I'm excited. I'm really excited to get to do this.
Awesome. And Sherra, what's your preferred form of measurement? I know you said you want to lose like 30, 40 pounds, but do you have other ways that you measure yourself as far as like fat loss?
I don't do like traditional, like I don't weigh myself, or not weigh myself, but I don't measure myself really. I look at how I feel in my clothes. So if I'm wearing something that I wore 3 months ago is now tighter, that's a problem in my head. But if it's looser, it's like it gives me all the endorphins. So right now, my clothes are starting to loosen up. And it's only been, I think, 2 weeks. And I feel like even the pants that I wore today, usually I'm like, oh, they're wrinkled. That's fine. My thighs get the wrinkles out. And they was just like, they're so they're so loose. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm really walking around here with wrinkled pants on my thighs. And because it's like just as loose as my clothes are starting to get so quick. So I usually try to measure how I feel in my clothes. Something's tight around my stomach, something tight on my hips, on my thighs, That's how I kind of go about how, my measurements, and it's basically how I feel in my clothes.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have my patients do the same, and I'm sure Katie does too. So awesome. And then what factored in your decision to start semaglutide specifically? Like, were there any hesitations with starting medical weight loss? Tell us more about that.
Because, you see all the drugs. So you had like a bird's eye view of all the options.
For me, I was hesitant in the beginning because I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want the side effects. I don't know if I want the nausea. Those are like the typical side effects, and having a 3-year-old running around and being nauseous is just not my cup of tea. So I was like, I wasn't sure about that. But then, when you see our patients specifically, they are doing so well. We had patients lose 40 and 50 pounds in a matter of months. And then we have patients that are so healthy. This one patient came in when I was telling him about, my journey, and she was showing me like all the things that she was doing. And she's like, I went from a size 16, now I'm in a size 8. And I'm just like, what in the world? And she is
came in looking like a whole different person.
She came in looking like a whole stack.
Well, half a person of what she was.
Yeah, confidence was through the roof. It was like, it's crazy.
She's stomping into the room.
Yeah, makeup was on point. The whole thing was crazy.
I see you. And she's not even the only one. It's so many examples of so many patients that I can give of who are just so happy. Even bigger patients who are like in at 300 pounds and they're losing 30 or 40 pounds, and they're coming in and they come in with like moo-moos when they first come in, and then they come in with clothes, and it's just like, oh, I see you. So like, when you see this transition and you see the excitement, it's contagious. And it's just like, I want that. I want that excitement. And summer may be over. I may not be able to have my hot white summer this year, but I'm going to have it next year. I'm going to have it.
You're getting ready. A year ahead of time.
Getting ready early, a year ahead of time.
If I can get to that point of just being excited again in my clothes, that's what I want. I'm tired of I'm at the point where I'm tired of putting on my outfits and it's like, it's like you just feel so exhausted when you put on clothes and that fit a year ago, and now it's just like, I need to go a size up. And it's like, I do not want to do that. And then you putting it off to the point that you have no clothes. You're wearing like the same 2 outfits all the time because you just don't want to buy a bigger size. And I said, I do not want to have that on me. And even though I have a boy, it's like, I don't want him to grow up weight conscious. Like, I want him to be comfortable in his own skin too. And then, I know, like, for a lot of people, like, oh, if I have a daughter, but it's like the same thing for a boy as well, because, I remember my sister-in-law saying she took my nephew to the doctor, and he was just talking about weight. And when she left, he was so, like, quiet. And she was like, she had to really address that, not just with the doctor, but with him too. Like, be comfortable in your own clothes. And so I want him to feel my comfort level in my own skin, and I can't do that if I'm uncomfortable. So it's like, I want, as he gets older, and his dad is a bigger guy, I like to eat, so he's going to have some type of food gene in there. So I want him to be comfortable in his own skin, and I want him to be comfortable with saying, hey, you know what? I don't like where I'm at right now. If my mom can do it, if my dad can work on it, then I know I can just go running. It's okay for me to go running. It's okay for me to say, hey, I want to lose a little bit and still be comfortable in the soul skin, not go off on the deep end, not go to one extreme to the next. So I want to be a grounded for him as well as making myself feel good. So that's kind of like I have all these thought processes when I think about
that is so beautifully said and insightful. Yeah. Czarina, do you see how lucky I am that I get to work with her? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I love that because when you were talking about the gender differences, like, yeah, women do think about weight more often, but it's just as important for guys because, we've accepted, dad bod, that's like acceptable,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I'm not talking trash about it, but I feel like, kids really learn from their parents and it's so good. Like you already said, could be some genetic history there, so you want to ingrain those habits now when they're young.
Exactly. So. Yep.
That is so true. The dad bod is so socially accepted.
Yeah.
Hashtag dad bod. But you don't see any mom showing like her postpartum stomach talking about hashtag mom bod. You know what I mean? There's always, unfortunately, an undertone of like shame and embarrassment or self-consciousness around it. But like dad bod is all good and like, you know what I mean?
Right. And especially as, females after they've given birth, they're like, I bounced right back, especially with like Kate Middleton or any celebrity. Like there's so much pressure to lose that baby weight. It's just terrible. And I'm sure that's like the hardest time to even try to lose weight because you've got a freaking screaming newborn in the middle of the night. And you're like, and I eat when they eat, like, there's just no way. There's just too much expectations for women to lose weight, especially like after giving birth. Like, what the heck?
I don't even know how they
I totally agree. And I think that oftentimes we forget just how long that after birth period is. Like Sherra wanted to lose weight last year, and we even had a little consultation, but she couldn't get the baby out the boob yet. So baby Brian was still breastfeeding, which by the way, I fully support. Max breastfed till he was 3. So I totally get it. But because of that, my point is that yes, he was a toddler, but she was still breastfeeding and deep in the mom stuff.
Right. Yeah. And it's not recommended to start weight loss, while breastfeeding. So you don't want that to go to the baby either. So.
No, and that would be a setup anyway, because you'd be hungry when you're breastfeeding.
Yeah, is that a whole myth? Like they're like, when you breastfeed, you lose weight because you're like giving away so much, nutrition, and Sherra's giving me a face. I think that's BS, right? Because you want to eat more.
The only reason why you lose weight, or like I lost weight with the first kid, is because when you breastfeed, the uterus contracts, right? Which can help your uterus shrink back down to size after birth. So that's the thought process behind that. But no, you don't lose weight because most people don't lose weight because you're hungry. So those extra calories that you're giving to baby, you need to eat then. And then add in the fact that you're bored and tired and stressed, that you eat even more, right? You're like, I'm just stuck sitting here. You feel like a living cow. I mean, again, this is not everybody feels that way, but that's sometimes, I know that's how I felt in my personal experience.
Me too.
But I also just felt like, you barely feel like a person after a while because you're just sitting there feeding this greedy, very cute little person.
I'm eating, and I'm not eating.
Exactly. You hungry? I'm hungry. There literally is not much else to do.
Sure, you go.
So I mean,
eat off me. I'll eat these Cheetos. So it's like,
facts. Exactly. That's exactly. Especially because you're working on the baby's time, you can't be like, hurry up, we got somewhere to go. You know what I mean? You're just there. Yeah. So I think it's a common thing for women is that a lot of them do gain weight, while breastfeeding because of all those factors that we just mentioned. Again, not everybody, and some people will be like, oh, I bounced right back. But I think for many of us, that is like not necessarily the case.
Right. And it shouldn't be the expectation to just magically lose weight right after having a baby. There's just, you're just lifing, and it's hard to try to lose weight during that time.
And they say, oh, it only takes 6 weeks. No, that 6 weeks is painful. And so by the time it's done, it's just like, I just want to lay here and eat comfort food.
Your body went through so much.
It's like you feel your body's moving around, and it's like, it's just, no. I wasn't even thinking about weight loss that first year. I had no thought process, no care about that. I just wanted to make sure that my baby stayed alive and that he was okay and I was doing things right. And, I'm terrified. There is no thought process to like weight loss. You're just thinking about caring for this new little one, making sure he's safe, making sure he eats, making sure he's okay. It's all about him. But
you're on survival mode.
Yeah, survival. It really is survival mode. And then once that's done and you start thinking about weight loss, it's just like, oh, I got so far to go. So it's just like, then you're moving on to the next phase, until you're finally at the point where you're like, okay, I'm here. Now what? And so I think that.
And I'm so proud of you for this, because I know how hard it is, especially as a new mom. Because even though he's not like a newborn, toddlers are no joke. They are exhausting. Yeah. You're literally spending all of your mental time trying to keep them alive. You're weaning them off of like different bad habits. I know the breastfeeding is over, but I know you're actively weaning him from the pacifier right now, which is a whole other like journey. Potty training.
Which is they're running around.
Yes, it's like, it's so much. It's like this project, you know what I mean? And it's a very challenging thing, and it's very difficult to remember to think about yourself and to remember that you're your own person too. So I'm so proud of you for being like, you know what? I'm going to prioritize my health, and I'm going to like focus on me, because I know you're going to do amazing. You literally already are, which is unbelievable, because it's only been 2 weeks and she literally is already killing it. And you know, and your excitement about it is like contagious. And we are literally all rooting for you. Like all my patients don't even want to talk about themselves. They're like, so how's Sherra doing? I saw she took her first shot.
It's so exciting. It really is so exciting. And I'm so happy, because it's like, I feel like I'm finally here. Like I'm finally doing something for me. And it just feels so good. And then when you see the scale move and you see the excitement from everybody else and everyone's rooting for you, and you see like you walked in. I told my husband, I said, oh, yesterday some giant tried to talk to me. I said, I'm back.
Still got it.
Uh-oh, Brian, I still got it.
I have arrived. Of course, I'm like, for real.
You're like, this is me at 10 units. Just wait till I'm at 20, boo.
And then it's over for you at that time.
Wow. So it's like, it feels good. So I walked out of Giant like, yes.
Now every time she goes to Giant, because she loves Giant, I'm going to give her side eye. She's going to be like, I'm going to go to Giant to get a salad. I'm like, okay, I'm sure you are.
It's the best thing ever. So it's just like, it feels good though. It feels so good. And it feels good to like know that soon, like when I start incorporating exercise to it, and when I start doing more with getting like my diet down packed, the nutritional side to it down packed, when I start getting the workouts down packed, when, you know, it's like all my little check marks that I'm going through. My water intake has increased when I start getting that down packed, you know, so water increasing, your skin starts glowing up when I start. So it's like, I have all of these check marks that I'm going through, and it's just so exciting. Like weight loss to me, sometimes when you think of weight loss, you think of like, oh my God, this is like another job. This is like going to be a chore. You know, it's going to be something hard, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something that's for just you, or it could be something for you and your family to do together. Like it could be something fun. Like even my husband, he's just, because I'm eating healthier, he called me the other day. He was like, guess what I ate today? I said, what you eat? He's like, I ate a salad. I was like, go ahead, baby.
Okay, Brian.
So it could be something that can translate to your whole household. It is good, because it's like, I want us to be healthy. We're older now. We're both 40, so we're older now. We can't do what we used to do. We can't just eat a cheeseburger and cheese fries, drink a soda, and be like, all right, cool, we good. Like that's gone now. We have to do better. So it's nice to see how the enthusiasm from me just starting is translating to him and to even like my parents, and you know, so it's fun. It's fun. It can be a good thing, and that's what makes it so, you know, exciting and happy as well. It's just the fact that everyone is participating in it in the family. So it's fun. It's a good thing.
Good. I'm so happy to
that.
hear that, because when I hear people trying to lose weight, when they're doing keto or whatever, it just sounds like, oh, I have to restrict myself and I hate it. And that's exactly the reason why people, you know, gain the weight again, because once they get off of that diet, and then they're like, oh, finally I'm free, I can have whatever I want.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you're able to incorporate good lifestyle habits, and that it's even contagious to your family. And I'm glad they're very supportive, because some of my clients don't even want to tell anybody. They don't want to tell their husband. They're hiding it.
Keep it a secret. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's great.
That's amazing. And so, Sherra, one thing that Czarina and I wanted to do, sort of like in showing our support for you, was we wanted you to share some of the challenges that like you either feel like you're having right now or that you can kind of foresee might be difficult for you. And then after you get off of this part of the podcast, we're going to kind of talk through them, and then we're going to share them with you later.
Okay.
I'll kind of let you know what we talked about, and then when we meet next month, you can let us know if you tried any of them and if they were helpful to you versus not. So, are there any things that you like kind of like are parts of this weight loss journey that you're nervous about, that you've struggled with in the past, or that you would like some help with?
There's a couple things. So for me, I am a social drinker. I love when I go to my friend's house, they're like, come on, let's drink wine, and come on, let's do this. And I'm just like, that, you know how many calories is in that? But at the same time, like, give me that. Give me that. I'll do this later. But I would love to find alcoholic drinks that I can have that are not so hot, but it still tastes good, because I've tried like certain skinny drinks and I'm just like, I'm not drinking this. So it's like, I would love to try to blend something. Like, I know someone gave me the suggestion of doing like vodka with like a sparkling water. And I thought that was good. So things like that, I look for those type of suggestions. Even food, going to different restaurants. You know, I'm on the go a lot, and I am not the biggest meal prep person. That's not my jam. That's not my thing. So like going when I'm out, what is the best foods to eat at different restaurants? You know, I always see that different restaurants have better menus, but sometimes the things that are on this menu is not what I want or have a taste for, or it doesn't even look good. So it's like, what are different?
Do you have some favorite restaurants that you go to regularly, that you frequent regularly?
We do a lot of Italian restaurants, so that's a lot of pastas. Do like little things like Texas Roadhouse, stuff like that.
Toddler friendly restaurants.
Toddler friendly, yeah. I was like, because I said Italian, I was like, when's the last time you been to an Italian restaurant? And I was like, yeah, we don't really go there no more, do we? So it's like little things that have a toddler menu. We tend to do those pretty much. And then I'm gonna really try to think of more things, but those are like kind of my biggest, trying to like find things to eat. Like I can cook something at home, but sometimes you want to get out the house, you want to go out, or you're going to a friend's house, and it's like you go to your friend's house, everyone brings a dish, and it's like, oh, everything looks good, I want to try everything. What is the good portion control size? So if I do try everything, what's the best sample size to do that with? And then even like with shopping, I think you guys talked about this previous on the podcast of when to buy clothes during your as you start to go on a weight loss. Like, I would like to buy clothes. I don't want to wait till the end. I would like to go buy as I go. But then it's like you buy clothes and then you're still losing. It's just like, do I want to stop here because I really like this outfit, or do I want to keep going? So what type of clothes to buy, like in that middle period? Like, because sometimes as you lose weight in your stomach, but then your thighs are still big. So like, what sizes should I buy for myself? And then it's like, it's just like things like that I look for. Even working out, I don't want to start too heavy, because I know me. If I start too heavy, I feel good that first week, and then I'm just like, I'm not doing that again. So it's like, how do I go where I feel like I had a workout, but it wasn't too heavy, so that I can keep going and keep doing the workouts. I know Katie is all about Peloton. I love the Peloton workouts. I even went and I was like, oh, I love this. And I talked to Brian. I was just like, Brian is my husband. I was like, oh, we should get a Peloton. And he was just like, if you look on Facebook Marketplace and you see one that's used, go for it.
Yeah. That's what we did.
So, but in the meantime, like, what are good exercises to do?
Well, what do you like? Do you like to be in a group, or do you like to go to the gym? Do you like to work out by yourself? Like,
I can do it all. So I will say, though, I am a huge YouTube person. So I used to do like exercises off of YouTube. The problem with that, though, is like there's so many to choose from. So one day I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, let me try this hip hop exercise. And then by the end of it, I'm like, that was dumb. Like, why did I do that?
I know, it's so hard.
My own feet. Now I'm mad. And I'm like, I'm thinking I can dance, and now they're making me feel like I can't dance. So it's like, and then I tried to do like a Pilates workout from YouTube, but then I'm like, I am not a contortionist. Why did I pick that one? So it's just like, what are the good ones to do? Like, I love cardio.
She said I am not a contortionist. Sorry.
I love cardio workouts. I love strength training. I think those are really good. But it's just like, what are the best ones for like beginner, then intermediate, then advanced, but not something that's going to like, I still have a 3-year-old that I want to chase. I don't want to be tired out from that. So it's just like things like that. Like, what are some mom friendly things to do, but still don't make you feel like a mom? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's like things. Like
I hear you. Oh my gosh, these questions are literally so good. And I think we won't be able to get them all in one episode in the future, but we're going to scatter them throughout some episodes. And certainly for people that are listening right now, that might be even clients or current or previous clients at either Lifefire or even out in Cali at the A-List clinic, or if you just have had your own weight loss journey, if you have tips for Sherra and things that have worked for you, by all means, please send them to us. Email us, contact@theweightandpeace.com. If there's something you did that worked for you, if you have a favorite YouTuber that you love to do for workouts, that you do their YouTube workouts and you feel great, let us know. So, you know what I mean? If you have somewhere that you like to shop, let us know. And if you have your favorite alcoholic drinks that were able to get you through a little outing when you're doing your girls' outings and you were still able to do it and not kind of feel guilty, oh my gosh, that was so sugary, let us know. Because we would love to be able to share that knowledge with Sherra from you guys as well, because you guys are actively living it. Sherra, thank you so much for meeting with us. This was so awesome. We are so excited to be part of this with you. And we're definitely going to get back to you with some excellent fun tips. Aren't these amazing questions, Czarina? I'm all excited.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited because we finally get to kind of follow somebody from the start, because not a lot of people like to talk about their journey. They usually talk about it towards the end, after they've lost the weight. But we love that we have someone that's going through it and can go through it with you guys too. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll definitely have you back on the show soon for yet another check-in.
Awesome.
This is amazing. Thank you, Sherra.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. So we're having this conversation post Sherra exiting. Fun fact, she just chatted with us and now she's on her way to Delaware to see a couple of patients and be at the office there. But she left us with some really good questions.
Yeah. And I think it'll be very applicable to everybody. And it's some stuff that we wanted to talk about. So it's great that she brought it up.
Oh my gosh.
Especially the social drinking one. Oh my God. We've been thinking about doing an episode to try some drinks and stuff. We just haven't gone to it. But
with the time difference, y'all, it's so hard. So I'll be what about 7 o'clock? Let's try some drinks. And she's like, I'm literally still working.
It's 4 p.m.
Yeah, I
Pacific
cannot
time,
do my
girl.
patients drunk, Katie. Because I've had this as always looking for an excuse to turn up. I've had this as an episode idea forever. I'm Czarina, let's do the drinking episode. The people need to know.
Yeah. Sometime we'll find a weekend or something to do that.
Yeah,
but
it definitely has to be a Saturday episode or our patients are not going to be happy with us.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one of Sherra's questions was, okay, I like to drink socially. What are good alcoholic drinks that I can have that aren't bad for me, especially during a weight loss journey? So we were thinking hard seltzers are good if you like those. It's usually about 100 calories, for example, White Claw or any of those type of drinks are pretty good. Vodka soda or any of if you have an alcoholic drink with a clean type of soda, not you don't want to be doing Coke or, Sprite, any of those would be too much. But doing a club soda or a sparkling water with alcohol isn't too much in calories. And then even beers now, usually if you get a light beer, it's 90 calories or so. So that's not too bad either.
It's so fun funny because one of our listeners who I'm friends with was like, oh my gosh, when you guys do your podcast, it just feels like you live in like two different planets sometimes, because it just feels like Pennsylvania things are so different than Cali things. I don't even think this is a Pennsylvania thing though, but I'm sure many of you have heard of like the Muse sweeteners where you like squeeze the drops into like some water. I do have a few clients who actually taught me that a few years back, that's like what they do, is that they'll add that to, since obviously, to be frank, the lowest calorie thing you can do is to just drink the alcohol straight. Obviously, for many reasons, we don't always want you to go super hard with that, because just remember all of the other risks that come with being on semaglutide. Semaglutide already can cause some nausea. It already delays gastric emptying, not to mention your risk for pancreatitis is already increased. So I do want to add that disclaimer. But the MIU drops do add a nice little like bit of flavor to any drink. So a lot of my people will say that they make really fun cocktails with the MIU drops. Sometimes they'll add it to like a sparkling soda type of deal as well, to kind of make like a real like cocktaily type of experience. So that's definitely something that you can try. A good old like gin and tonic, if that's your jam, can sometimes be a good thing. Gin has like a little bit more calories than vodka, I believe. But an interesting thing about gin is like it has juniper berries, I want to say, which can also be kind of like a little bit of like a digestive aid. So sometimes that's a nice one to have like with a meal, is like a nice little like gin and tonic. And so, yeah, another, just like as an aside, because eventually we'll do like a more in-depth episode about this, but something I tell all my people, because this is going to be a big thing as we get towards the holiday season, it's like preparation is key. And although some of you may have a moral conflict with this, if your plan is that you do not want to drink somewhere and it does not speak to what you want to do right now, then just have your reason, excuse, explanation prepared before you go out so that others can be supportive of it, right? Whether it's that you don't have to tell them that you're on a diet. Maybe it's that you just have like a really big day tomorrow, so you're going to be taking it easy. Something to help make it that you're not being pressured constantly if you're doing something that deviates from your norm, right? Like if you're usually downing like beer after beer and you're like just sipping on like a gin and tonic all night, people are going to think it's weird, and that's okay. And if you have the type of relationship with the people you're going out with where like, you know, you can tell them like, yeah, y'all know I'm on this weight loss journey, et cetera, then great. But we're not always going out to events where that's the case, right? You could be going to like a work event or with people that you don't even really like that much, or people who you don't want to know all of your business. So I always tell people, whether you're going to a party, to a bar, anywhere, have a level of like preparation in your mind for like what you're going to say, so it's not weird. And like I said, that can be like whatever you want to be. Sometimes I would just go out and just be like, yeah, like I have such a big day tomorrow, and I have such a sensitive stomach. Tonight's just not the night, you guys. I'm just gonna sip one drink, and then nobody bothers me for the rest of the night, and I'm able to stay on track. So whatever works for you. I'm not telling you to lie to your friends, but just be like, have some preparation there.
Right. And I feel like if they're your friends, they shouldn't be pressuring you. And if you don't feel like you're up to do it, you don't have to go. Like, don't feel pressured. But also, if you're good friends with the bartender, just kind of let them know, like, hey, can you just give me water? Like, some club soda or something. Like, I don't want to be drinking this. And they got your back. But yeah, speaking of the holidays, we actually do want to do an episode with Casey. We want to have him back, and we're going to do a whole holiday special, because I know that time of year is going to be hard. That's just even more from family pressures. Sometimes that's harder than like when you get pressure from your friends. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a whole episode on that.
Ooh, he's a crowd favorite. Listen, some of my friends and some of my clients that are listening are going to be so hype. I think it helps that Casey's easy on the eyes too, but that episode he did, people loved. They'd be like, when are you going to have him back? One of my clients was like, when is that young man going to come back on the podcast?
That is so funny.
Everybody wants a little bit of Casey. So, and he also had some like amazingly helpful knowledge. He was just like really brilliant on the podcast. So it'd be really cool to have him back. As an aside, we have like a couple of crowd favorites that are going to be coming back towards the end of the year, and we're definitely looking forward to having them back on the Weigh In podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another thing I wanted to add specifically about like semaglutide and alcohol, since you touched on it too. I've had clients tell me, I don't really want to drink as much. Like when they're on the GLP-1s, also including tirzepatide, they're just like, if they normally have a glass of wine with their dinner, they just don't have that urge anymore, or just that craving. So that's just something to think about. And then also, like your hangover might be more pronounced than it normally would be. So that's just something to think about. And that's just maybe another deterrent for you too. If you're someone that normally can drink, a few, glasses of wine or something, and then later on you're like, dude, I had to stop at like one or two. So that's just something that the GLP-1s can do. So on top of not having cravings for food, you just won't have many cravings for alcohol. But it's not contraindicated to, have them together. If you have one or two, that's totally fine. Just warning you that it's just going to feel different versus when you weren't on the medication.
If you're on the drug and have not drank before, then you definitely should go slow the first time that you're going drinking. And by the way, many of you already know this. I've been on this drug before, and I'm definitely like a social drinker. So I'm speaking from experience. You definitely want to be careful that first time because you don't know what your body can tolerate. And also you're going to get drunk a lot quicker. You're going to be a super cheap date because you're just not going to drink as much as you usually do. And that can factor into your decision-making as well. So I'll tell you, we just gave all these great tips for Sherra while drinking, but I'll tell you that I actually didn't do any of that. I just picked my usual staple, right? Which for me is Prosecco. Prosecco, or I do love a mojito, as you know, Czarina. But yeah, so Prosecco, like Prosecco, I would just drink that. And I didn't even care what the calories were because I knew I was probably not even going to finish the one drink, right? So I think you have to like figure out what's going to work for you and what, again, you're not going to feel guilty about afterwards and what's not going to be a setback for you. But, like I said, if it's like you have this one drink that you like and you're not even going to drink that much of it, I mean, unless you're social drinking every single night of the week, it probably is okay.
Moving on to her next question. So she said that she doesn't really like to meal prep. She does like to go out to restaurants and like wants to know what are good eating out options. So she had mentioned she likes to go to like Texas Roadhouse, anywhere that's toddler friendly. So that tends to be more of like bigger chain restaurants, say like your Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's, etc. And like how to do portion control with that. Katie, I'll let you start off. Like, what are your suggestions?
So definitely plan ahead, which I know is so hard to do, right? But even if you just take a quick second, you pull into the parking lot, right? And if you're lucky, like I was, maybe your toddler fell asleep in the car, which would be amazing. So just take a quick second to pull out your phone and just take a look at the menu, because you know as soon as you go in there and you're putting your toddler into a high chair or dealing with your screaming baby, or maybe you have an older kid, like an 8-year-old who's going to ask you a million questions for no apparent reason, like I do. Like, mom, why is the sky blue? Like, dude, I'm just trying to read the menu right now, cute guy. So maybe, you know what I mean? They steal our brain cells. So take a moment before you go in to just figure out what you're probably doing, or maybe develop a default that you just do when you're at these chain restaurants, right? And by the way, they all have their nuances. Like Ruby Tuesday has like a salad bar, so like that might be your thing if you're a salad type of person. We're actually going to approach this like you're not a salad type of person, because salad is an easy answer. So if you're a salad eater, then just get a salad. Just make sure you don't use a fatty dressing and you're set, and make sure you don't do fried foods. That's like easy. If you're not a salad person, or if you just don't want salads, this is where it gets like a little bit trickier. And this is where you kind of can like choose your own adventure, right? Like maybe it's like you're going to do like grilled chicken tenders, sub broccoli for fries, which sounds boring, but hey. So that's like one option, right? Where you pick your usual thing and you just like substitute things in. Another option is, which is you're going to start noticing a theme here, which is the way that I am, which is that I'm kind of like, if I'm doing this diet correctly, then I'm really not eating a lot of these foods all the time anyway. And so for me, I'm big on moderation. So if I were to go to an Applebee's, I don't go that often. I probably would get a burger with like some broccoli or something. You can tell I like broccoli. But like I wouldn't get fries, but I would choose one like indiscretion, which would be a burger, which by the way, burgers are not all bad. They're a great source of protein. Again, I typically in our diets, we usually encourage lean protein. So it's not the kind of protein that we usually encourage, but it certainly is not the end of the world if you have a burger. So for me, I love a burger. Don't have it very often. If I were going into an Applebee's, I probably would just kind of like eat a burger. When I was on Semaglutide, I don't even know if I would have been able to finish a whole burger, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of is like no harm, no foul. I kind of have a rule that if I am going to have an indiscretion, it usually is like one indiscretion at a time, right? So if it's going to be that I want a burger, I'm not going to do fries, and I'm probably not going to do like the chocolate lava cake, which by the way at Applebee's is definitely on point. But that would be sort of what I do, is to like pick one indiscretion if that's how you're going to do it, or plan ahead, which should always be what you're doing. And then just make sure that you give yourself that mental moment to make a decision, and make one that you're not going to feel guilty about. Okay. You are going to be stuck in a cycle of constantly yo-yo dieting if you put yourself in a cycle of guilt. I say this to my patients all the time. If you develop a pattern of diet, make a diet mistake, feel guilty about it, then get back on track, then diet, make a diet mistake, it's going to be constant, and it leads to constantly on and off again dieting. Stop doing that. Make it that you're making a decision that you're okay with and that you're not going to feel guilty about later on, right? Especially because your kids are watching you and they watch how you feel about food and how you interact with food. So whatever decision you're going to make that the decision and stick to it and feel okay with it.
Right. And it's okay to have like, a cheat meal. I honestly don't like to think about cheat meals, but if this is something that you think about it as, fine. 1 to 2 times a week, that's okay. But one thing I do like about these bigger chain restaurants, and like I know they get a lot of flack, but like Katie said, I mean, you could look the menu up prior and they're all predictable. They all have the same menu. It's all going to be like the same portion sizes, same calories. So you don't need to worry about all those nuances versus like going to somewhere that's more, small and, whatever. So typically what I like to prioritize with my patients is to do what's called the palm, fist, hand, thumb method. So, yep. Palm is like 1 serving of protein. A fist is 1 serving of vegetables. And then cupped hand is like a serving of carbs. And then your thumb is a serving of fats. So if you're someone that can't do the calorie counting or whatnot, like that's just a really easy method to think about in all your meals, whether you're meal prepping or if you're eating out. And also too, what I like about these bigger chain restaurants, like for example, Cheesecake Factory has like a whole Skinnylicious menu. So if you like don't want to get tempted, they have like 1,000 things in their menu, right? But they've narrowed it down and they're like, okay, well, you could have these things if you're like trying to watch your diet or what you're eating. So that's what I like about those bigger chain restaurants.
Just make sure it's something you like. Don't start eating nasty food just because you're on a diet, because then it's like a waste of calories.
Right. Yeah. Make sure it's something you enjoy.
Exactly. Like the meals that you're referencing actually usually taste pretty good. But if you look at it and you're like, this is going to taste like cardboard, this does not speak to me, then don't eat it. It's like not worth it. In my opinion, it's not really worth it. I also say like avoid a food that's going to trigger any type of like weakness or addiction that you have. Right. So when I was dieting, I was not about to order the chocolate lava cake because I'm a chocolate addict. I love chocolate, and I was trying to stay off the chocolate, and I was worried that if I had chocolate once, that would kind of get me off the rails, right? Whereas like if I ate like, in my experience, a burger, for example, I'm not the type to really like crave burgers on the regular. So that was a safe option for me, right? So if there's something you've been working on or trying to avoid, I usually say try to continue to avoid it unless you've made a conscious decision that you're like ready to kind of.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, I think it's good to just have a really good relationship with food. And if you're in a good mindset about it, then go for it. But if you're like stressed out and you're coming from a bad place and that's kind of something you're resorting to for comfort, then it can be more of a negative experience with that. So, and then one thing that you mentioned too is like, if you're going to an event or if you're going to a restaurant such as this and, you're really hungry, try not to be super hungry. So have a protein shake or something before you go, because that will help.
Hungry.
Yeah, you're going to want to eat everything because they always have the charcuterie board. They've got like alcohol flowing. Oh, they have all the good things.
All the things. You're going to tear it all up. You're going to be like, why did I eat all this charcuterie? I was on a roll. And it all becomes mindless because you're hungry. If you're going to an event, or even if you're going to a restaurant, but if you're going to an event, never go hungry. I always tell people, even if you have like half of a protein shake, like I said, as you know, I'm a big fan of the Fairlife protein shakes, just because it's an easy shelf-stable pre-made option. And now that it's going into like wintertime, if you want to keep one in your car, I think is totally fine. But like give yourself even like half a protein shake before you go in anywhere that you're going to make a big food decision on. And events are a huge example of that. Otherwise, you're going to eat all the things and you're going to leave and you're going to feel guilty, right? And therein lies that whole vicious cycle of dieting, of yo-yo dieting, which we don't want because we want you to lose the weight and keep it off this time. Otherwise, to me, this is not successful, right? The weight loss is not successful weight loss if you're not able to keep it off.
Exactly. And, Sherra mentioned that she has a toddler. So it's hard enough raising a child, but then you're kind of on their schedule too, as far as eating goes. And then I'm sure Katie can speak more about this, but, try to stick to your own food and don't eat their food, especially if they're not going to finish it. You feel bad. You're like, oh, I got to finish their food.
Yeah. For all my parents that feel like they have to eat the food that their kids leave on the plate, I feel like this is sometimes like a dad thing too. I feel like a lot of dads do that, where it's like, oh, I didn't finish his nuggets, I don't want them to waste it, so they eat it. But like, you do not need to eat their food. Like, you do not. So just leave it alone. You don't have to eat their food. And similarly, if you're in a stressful space, right? Like, let's say you're out to lunch, and I think many people find this relatable. You're out to lunch at a restaurant, and your kid is acting like a demon child. They're like acting up. You're just trying to feed them. It's like the lunch from hell. If you've never had a hell lunch with a kid, then you probably are not a parent, because any parent that has a child that's gone out has probably had like a horrible meal at one point where their kid has acted up a little bit, or it just is stressful, nap time, whatever. If that's the case, then maybe you wrap up your food and you eat it at home. And I say that because it's going to be a stressful experience if you're trying to make a food decision while you're kind of like in duress, and B, you're going to be scarfing it down, and it's not really going to be like a mindful eating experience, right? If you're hungry, eat, but it's also okay to be like, you know what, we're going to finish out this restaurant experience as the best way we know how, and I'm going to finish the rest of my food at home in peace when my toddler or child is chill,
Yeah.
And so I think that that's okay too. And with the pre-made protein shakes, that also is a great thing to do if you are in the judgment-free zone. If you're somebody who's like, running your kid to a bunch of activities and you're feeding your kids fast food, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your kids or not do with your kids, but many parents do that. If that's what you're doing, you don't have to eat the fast food if you're actively trying to lose weight. You better take a swig of some of that protein shake, and you'll go home and you'll make a different food choice, right? So do something to hold yourself over. You don't always have to eat what they're eating, Ideally you would, and I could sit here and say, don't give your kids fast food. Like, you should, be feeding them like homegrown vegetables and like a wonderful, very clean, dinner. And, that's the ideal, but we're living in real life, right? And life is busy, and you might have times where you're eating out or where you're doing fast food. But while you're in this journey, you don't necessarily always need to order fast food just because you're getting them something, right? Just because they're having chicken tenders and fries doesn't mean that you're going to have chicken tenders and fries. Ideally, yes, you're aligned and nobody's having chicken tenders and fries, and everybody's eating like some salmon with some vegetables, but that might not always be the case. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. And to add, like, fast food restaurants too also have a good healthy options as well. So if you have places you frequent, because your toddler likes to go there, you could always have your staple meals that you'll get. So you don't have to resort to the chicken tenders and fries, like Katie said. There's always different options. Like, for example, Chick-fil-A has like grilled chicken. You can get a fruit cup. It doesn't have to be the
Chick-fil-A
default.
has so many healthy options.
Yeah, they have salads. They've got so many things that you can get there. So.
It low key makes me mad, because sometimes I'll like want to like splurge and have like a few nuggets, and like I will if that's what we happen to be doing at that point. But I'm like, wait, I have like zero excuse to eat nuggets if I don't want to eat nuggets, because they have like good salads, like they have like good healthy options. So I think those are all great things. And just so you know, we're gonna probably add show notes to this episode, but I know that I've done a blog or two on fast food, and I'm probably going to do another one soon. Czarina, I think you probably have another awesome TikTok about this. Don't give a TikTok, or was for you, it was a blog. Her TikToks are so good. Yeah. She's got a really good TikTok where she talks about some of some like good fast food options as well. And if you're a client of ours, I think we'll be having a handout pretty soon that has like a nice little list of what you can get at like most of the fast food restaurants that are local to us that are like kind of like on diet. So
yeah, you could always modify things. And that's honestly where I got a lot of my other ideas too with fast food. So that's why I like it. It's just, again, predictable, and you can just think about what you're going to get before you go there, rather than like when you're stressed out or whatever, and then you're going to fast food, you're already in a bad mindset. So
yep, I completely agree.
Sherra's other question was regarding working out. So she likes to do YouTube. She did like a hip hop class and then got really exhausted, didn't like Pilates. She likes her cardio and strength training and mom friendly type of workouts. So yeah, back like years and years ago, I guess when I was like in high school, college, I hated working out. I was never an athletic person. I hated running. I still hate it, but I do it. And,
Girl, same.
but what I was doing was Blogilates, and she's free. She has a calendar that she sends out every month and then breaks it down by like, this is leg day, arm day, core, cardio. So if you really don't know how to start, because she has so many videos and she's always updating it. And again, the content is free. I'm just, amazed. A lot of stuff on YouTube is free. But if you're someone that like doesn't have any structure, it's already laid out for you. And her videos are typically like 5-10 minutes long, and you'll do like maybe 3 or 4 of them for the day. So that's what I really like about her. And it looks easy when she does it, and then you try to do it and you're like, oh my God. But you'll be amazed by like the progress once you redo the videos, because she repeats them, after a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and you'll be like, yo, I could barely do this plank and now I could hang on for like a good minute. Yeah. So
I love that.
yeah. So again, she's Blogilates, and there's a ton of other YouTubers out there. But I just really love her because she's just relatable and easy to follow. So that's one thing to do. Another thing that I like to do, and Katie loves also, is Peloton. Obviously, I don't have a Peloton bike. I wish I did, but the app is great. It's now, I guess they have different structures, but the one I have is like the $24.99 one. It includes like all the cardio, all the strength training. They also have yoga and Pilates. There's just so many options you could do with Peloton. So you don't need to have a bike or all the equipment. I had just have a gym membership, and I'll even take it with me. I'll be on the app, go on to the treadmill. I'll do their treadmill running, or even their cycling, because there's like bikes too at the gym. So you don't need to have a Peloton specific bike. You can modify it and do the same exact thing wherever. But I know Katie likes to use the outdoor running. So yeah, I'll let you speak more about that, especially because you run with your kids. So
yes, I do. And as a side note, just so y'all know, you guys know, I don't even like to run, but I do enjoy this on Peloton, and I love all things Peloton. And I think one cool thing about Peloton and the app in particular is that it literally eliminates any excuse making, because there's even like 10-minute workouts, right? Yeah. So like even like the 10-minute standing yoga, although yeah, you're not going to burn a ton of calories. It is just a second to like have a moment of movement where you feel great. So I used to do that when I was an ER nurse. I would just like say, I have to go to the bathroom, and I would give myself 10 minutes. And I think about Peloton is like, you get a blue dot every time you're active, and crazy people like me really like get happy about having this like blue dot. And then it congratulates you when you're on like a streak, right? So I used to be like, oh my God, I got to get my blue dot. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, I got to get my blue dot. So I do like that part about it. I like to do with my kids because although I do have an actual Peloton and I do have a bike, and side note, my 8-year-old has like a little mini spin bike he does with me sometimes. On a weekend, I also don't want to lose time with my kids. So one thing I've been doing with Max since he was little is I would do the outdoor walk plus runs because I would go to a track and I put my headphones in and I would do the walk plus runs, and he would think it was some type of like weird game of like red light, green light, because he would see me like walk and then run and then walk and then run. And he would want to like do it with me. Other times he wouldn't do it with me, and he would just like run around the track while I was doing this. And it was okay because it was like a safe space, right? There's no like street there. And he would just like run around and burn energy, and I would get my 20-minute walk plus run in and feel like, oh my gosh, I did it today. I got this done. And that was a great way to still be like outside with him. And also, to be honest with you, I also do it. My older son like runs track, so I do it with him too, unless he's like in a chatty mood. And if you have a teenager, you know what I mean. When he wants to talk, the headphones come out. I'm like, oh yeah.
So crap, you don't get those moments often.
Yes, the headphones are up. I ain't worried about no Peloton. Spill the tea, sir. Yeah. So like you have to figure out what's going to work best with you. But I think Peloton has a lot of really cool options. And the final thing about Peloton that I do like is the fact that you can like hang out with your friends, and not that you need to like have like virtual Peloton friends, although some people have those too. But like if you have other friends who are maybe doing a similar workout journey as you, or health and wellness journey, you can be like, oh, you know what? Like there's a Spice Girls like body weight workout on Wednesday night. Like after we put our kids to kids to sleep, let's do that workout together, right? And although you won't be in the same space, she'll be at home with her kids, you'll be at home with your kids. You guys can both kind of have that like workout date that night, and it kind of gives you something to like talk about, right? Like, oh my gosh, it was good, but I can't believe he didn't play Spice Up Your Life. Like, I'm planking and I'm like, where is it? You know what I mean? So like, it just gives you like another thing to kind of like look forward to and feel accomplished with, without having to worry about some of the restrictions that sometimes come with being a parent, right? Like you might not have the childcare to like go out to that class and get that socialization. So.
Yeah. And yeah, having a workout buddy is just nice. Like, even if you can't go to a class, I mean, you guys can go for a walk in the park, or you guys can like do something together. So you're still socializing. And then if you have your little ones, you can like bring the strollers and do that. So there's just different ways to work out. You just have to make it modifiable to what's best for your lifestyle.
And also you can go to the gym. We did that seems like the most obvious thing, but you can go to the gym. You also can do group workout classes. There's a lot of great ones that you can do. And also, again, you can make those social, right? Like when we went to Colorado, Emily was like, do y'all want to go to Orange Theory with me? The answer ended up being no, but had Orange Theory not been at 6 a.m., we would have been there. So
right. So yeah, but I mean, if you're starting, especially on a weight loss program medically, on a GLP-1, we just want you to get accustomed to your eating habits. So like, because it's really mostly about diet, and exercising is important, of course, yes, but it's a lot to manage all at once, and we don't want to overwhelm you. So really the minimum is that we ask is just to walk. If you have even your phone, it can track how much steps you're doing, but you can also use your Apple Watch or any of those other gadgets that are available to track your steps. But typically we'd like you to do at least 8 to 10 steps per day.
10,000 steps, 8 to 10,000 steps.
Sorry.
Someone's going to walk to the bathroom and be like, I did it.
Right. Oh, it'd be so easy to lose weight. God. Yeah. Thanks for correcting that. Yeah. So that's equivalent to almost 5 miles, I want to say. So just get those steps in, like even on your lunch break, if you can, if you've got like a good 30 minutes to an hour, that's a good time to walk around. Or if you're just able to walk around, depending on where you work, try to get those steps in, So, that's just something that we would like you to focus on. And then eventually, yes, you can add on the strength training and do more heavy workouts once you've got the diet or your food habits kind of squared away. So yeah.
Also, sometimes it can help. Sometimes the walking can help with some of the nausea that you're having. Just by like kind of like moving around and getting things going. So all great things. I had a patient recently who came in who was like, I was like, oh, so like, tell me what you've been doing physical activity wise. She's like, well, I listened to you. She's like, the steps are now do or die for me. She was like, I told all my girlfriends, I ain't going on no more lunch dates. Yeah. Do not call me for an afternoon meal. She was like, we can do an afternoon walk. So
yeah, I love that.
She's got the whole crew walking on her lunch break. She meets up with her girls and they do a walk, I think 3 or 4 times a week, which is like amazing. So, and she really looks forward to it. It's her social time. And she's like forced her friends to be healthy with her. And I love that for her.
Yeah. I remember when I was working night shift, there was, this one nurse that was from another floor, and she was friends with one of my coworkers, and she would come up to our unit and have her walk around in laps at nighttime, because usually there's more downtime. So she would like have her walk. And I love that because you're just, nighttime, there's so much sitting, right? So you want to be moving around versus day shift when you're like a bedside nurse. So I really love that too. And then again, like if you're driving, like if your workplace is close to you, I mean, I personally like to walk if I can, or even bike to my office. I mean, I love that it's convenient because I could do all 3 things. And then same with like parking. If you can try to park farther, and that'll incorporate more walking, maybe try not to take the elevator, try to take the stairs, So there's just different ways that you can incorporate movement. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to get in a block of 20 minutes or something. You can incorporate it all throughout your day. It doesn't have to be just one big thing,
Czarina, what are your thoughts on those little steppy things that a lot of people use? I got a lot of work from homers who are like, oh, I use a little Well, stepping, I'm not
Yeah.
using the right term for it, but you know what I mean? They all like
The
love
walking
it. So
treadmill, I think, like it's just that flat. Yeah, I love that. Honestly, if you're a work from home girly and it's hard for you to step away, that's another great way to do it. And I know people have like their standing desks and they like, are walking the whole day. Like I saw a TikTok of someone that was doing that. I think she was able to get, God, it was a lot of steps. I think she was able to get maybe like a good 5K or something type of marathon, or was it a full marathon? I can't even remember, to be honest, but there's just
That's
so many
awesome.
different ways you can incorporate when you work from home. I know Sherra also mentioned about shopping. She was just wondering like when to buy clothes and what type of clothes. So we'll just touch on this briefly, but I personally love anything that has an elastic waistband. So like, especially if you're like gonna go on vacation and you're gonna be eating a little bit more, you don't want to bring restricting jeans. So
Facts. So true. Yeah. Czarina suffers so much being my friend. I forget what happened, but the minute that I discovered these adjustable jeans, I like wouldn't stop talking about it. So he'd be trying to talk about something else. I'd be like, okay, but have I mentioned that my jeans are adjustable?
which amazes me. I still have not seen these in person, I don't think. So that just like, how does that work?
They're like legit cute. I'm not just saying that. I think I did a post on them. I think if you look on my Instagram, like my fitness Instagram, not the Lifefire one, that you'll see an older post from it. But yeah, they're adjustable, which is cool. They adjust by like 2 sizes, which is cool. So that's a great option if you're in your weight loss journey. And also is nice too, since like a little bit of a looser fit for jeans has become more of a thing anyway. But I love them for that purpose. And also just for practical purposes. Like Czarina was saying, you go on a vacation, you eat a little much, you can just be like, we're doing a looser fit today.
You don't have to unbutton, because I've done that before too. Like,
Exactly. So Sherra, if you're listening, definitely adjustable jeans are definitely a great option. And I've seen them like at multiple stores. I know the ones that I got, I think were Mango brand is the name, and they were from ASOS. That's an option. Czarina already mentioned elastic waistbands for the win. I think when I was losing all the weight, it was during COVID. So I was, #winning. So I was like, oh, I guess I have to get some more leggings. But that being said, if you are somebody who's really into your workout journey and maybe you love workout clothes, treating yourself to workout clothes is always a nice way to reward yourself while you're on your weight loss journey. So that's another option for things to kind of get. And then, of course, we always need to think about our budgets, but I think that rewarding yourself with clothes during your weight loss journey is actually key for continuing to keep your motivation, continuing to reward yourself, and continue to get morale up. Do not spend your whole weight loss journey wearing clothes that are too big and do not fit you. Take yourself to like TJ Maxx or somewhere inexpensive and get yourself a few tops and a few bottoms that are going to fit you. And then reward yourself with more. What I used to do is I would do like, you know what? This like I'm like not quite at my goal weight yet, so this will be like a TJ Maxx Marshalls moment right now. We won't go crazy with it, right? And then when we get to the actual goal weight, we gonna do Nordstrom's. It's gonna be a Nordstrom moment. So then I got more. When I got to my goal weight, I spent a lot of money on clothes, and it was and people would be like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'd be like, "Gift cards for shopping."
Yeah,
I've got lots of. I have to
got a whole new wardrobe.
Exactly. I pretend to be upset about. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to do so much shopping because none of my clothes fit anymore, and that's gonna be you if you're on your weight loss journey. So I would say treat yourself, especially if you've lost weight and your clothes are not fitting. Obviously, be mindful of your budget, but treat yourself. You worked hard to get from that like size 16 to that size 10. So buy some size 10 clothes, right? Buy yourself some size 10 clothes, especially if it's going to keep you motivated, right? Because always remember that not losing the weight and having like a stroke or a heart attack, ending up in the hospital, all of those things would have been much more expensive than what you're doing right now, which is working on yourself. So yes, treat yourself to a few outfits. And then, decide. I used to like motivate myself with clothes because I was never that into clothes. Like look at like some cute expensive stuff and be like, ooh, when we get to our goal weight, we're definitely doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. And make it that you treat yourself to maybe those more expensive, pricier items when you get to that final goal weight.
Yeah. And honestly, I like the idea of buying like new workout clothes because it gets you more excited to work out because you're like, oh, I want to show off my new outfit at my Pilates class or whatever. Or I want to take a really cool selfie of me in these clothes because I look good.
Yep.
And it's just a really good confidence booster because your clothes, it makes you look good, makes you feel good. I had one client that was near her goal weight. And she was saying, I actually bought some of these tops at like, a little bit more cropped, which I haven't bought in like years because I've never been comfortable with it because I always had, just that muffin top. But now that I've lost the weight, I'm feeling more confident and, she's able to buy those clothes, which is great. So I think, yeah, totally a moment. I totally think of it as like a graduation of sorts. You've reached, your goal weight, or you're close to it, and you like want to show that off. And I think that's something you should be proud of. And then of course, like Katie had mentioned before, like we would probably suggest getting jeans when you're closer to your goal weight, only because you want to have room to, if you lose more weight or something, you can still fit in it. So probably do that towards the end. Yeah, if you reach that point, such a good problem to have, and that'll be such a fun journey. And honestly, post your hauls. I love seeing people's clothes and their outfits. I do that with my friends all the time. Like, oh, I just came out of, this store, and they're like, oh, show me your haul,
Oh, I love it. Shopping is such a fun thing to do. And definitely for those of you that are listening that are moms, I can guarantee you that you probably do not do it enough or don't do it very often. Right. So definitely think of, if you're somebody who likes to shop, if you don't, then that's a separate situation. But if you're somebody who enjoys shopping and maybe hasn't done it in like years, or maybe years and years and years, maybe be like, hubby or babysitter, watch this baby. I'm going to go and have some me time and get yourself some things. Again, you don't have to like break the bank, but maybe get yourself a couple of cute items. Maybe get yourself like a nice little candle, so when you go home, you can like chill and relax, or some bubble bath too. But definitely try to find outlets that aren't related to food, right? And rewards that are not related to food. And like I said, clothes are such a good way to do that, because it's a form of self-expression. It also, if you're somebody who loves compliments, and if you're somebody that's been wearing like leggings and big shirts for the past couple of years, it's like wows people when they see you like in some jeans and like just looking like cute. So I wish you guys could like be little birdies on my shoulder when my patients who have lost weight come in, because it is crazy. People come in with like huge sweats and like hoodies on for that first visit. And then I have one who's like a graduate. Her sibling now comes as a patient, and she's kept her weight off now, I think for like well over a year. But I hadn't seen her in a while. And she walked in, girlfriend had a crop top on, right? Earrings on, makeup done. Like I had never even seen her. Like she looked so different, had a little hair toss, like, hey ladies, how are you doing? I'm like, who is this?
Yeah.
Who is this person? Who is this person? And her outfit was adorable, and she was wearing it so well. And moreover, her confidence was like contagious. It was so cool. So you deserve that. You deserve to be in clothes that look good. And there are enough affordable clothes out there that you can afford to treat yourself just a little bit.
And just a reminder, if you're starting a weight loss journey, take pictures of yourself, because some people just feel so ashamed of how they look and they don't want to take any pictures. But that's going to be such a rewarding feeling when you compare your photos like a few months later, especially if you're in the same clothes, because that's a lot easier to tell. But even if you're not, just have those pictures beforehand, and then take pictures yourself maybe every month or however you like to do it, but just have that comparison, because I know as you're going through it, it's going to be hard and you're like, I feel like nothing is happening, but so much is happening. But especially if you can compare it within a bigger time period. So yeah, start taking those pictures. You don't have to share it. You just keep it locked away somewhere. Like you could have it in a hidden folder and then like revisit it after a couple months, and then take some pictures of yourself now and take a look. So, yeah.
And
so
I think we both use like a HIPAA. We actually use the same electronic health record. So I think I'm speaking for both of us. If you come into our offices and you want us to take your picture and upload it to your chart, we're happy to. It doesn't mean that we would ever use it or post it on social media or anything like that. We do have some people who are like, I don't want this posted anywhere, but I just want to know. I just want to be able to see it when I'm done. And if that's the case, just ask us, and I will gladly take a picture, upload it to your chart. And when you're ready to take a look, or when you're just having a moment where you're like, I didn't lose as much weight as I wanted to this month, I can be like, let me turn this computer around and just show you what happened, where you were 50 pounds ago.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll check in again with Sherra next month and see how she's doing. And we'll see what she's incorporated since then. But otherwise, yeah, this is going to be like a monthly type of check-in. So that way you have kind of someone you can follow along that's also going through it. So again, if you have any questions or any comments, you could always hit us up on Instagram at the Weigh-In NPs, or you can email us contact@theweighInNPs.com.
Yes, this was awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast, give us a rating, and share with your family and friends who might find it helpful.
And remember, we love hearing from our listeners. Connect with us on our social media channels or shoot us an email with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future topics. Don't forget to check out our website, www.theweightinnps.com, and to follow us on Instagram at theweightinnps.
If you need one-on-one help with your weight loss or wellness journey, book a private consultation with us. The A-List Clinic can be reached at www.thealistclinic.com or on Instagram and TikTok at The A-List Clinic.
And my clinic, Lifefire Weight and Wellness, can be reached at www.lifefireweight.com or on Instagram and TikTok at LifefireWeight.
Thanks again for tuning into the Weighing Podcast with your hosts, Katie and Czarina. Until next time, take care and be well.
The information in this podcast is for general information only. It is not intended as medical advice and should not be relied upon as a substitute for medical consultation with a qualified medical provider familiar with your medical needs.